One of the arguments that have repeatedly been made by the AAP, essentially even outside court, is that where is the money trail? In fact, the court has indicated that enough and more material has been provided on the record by the ED for them to believe that there indeed were two ways by which the Delhi Chief Minister is very fairly under the radar. One, because he's the boss of the AAP and that he received the kickbacks here, decided on policy on the basis of it.
Absolutely, Sneha. And, as far as this order is concerned, let me tell you what I've gathered from my sources within the Enforcement Directorate, that the ED officials were also waiting for this order because they also know that this is a very high-profile case. Arvind Kejriwal is not a common person. He is the Chief Minister of National Capital and convener of the party. So they were also looking forward for this order, and finally the order has come in their favor. So they are taking this as a major win as far as the investigation is concerned, because technically the High Court order has, prima facie accepted the evidence, the investigation which has been conducted by the Enforcement Directorate in connection with this case. Now, Sneha, the point, which you raised right now, clearly Arvind Kejriwal is someone who has been alleging that ED is working on behest of Bharatiya Janata Party. It is a completely political case. But there are 2-3 points on which the court made a very strong observation. The first one was about the approver, because we saw when Arvind Kejriwal was given the chance to speak in the lower court during his bail hearing, he alleged that there are only 4 statements recorded by the Enforcement Directorate in connection with the case, and based on those 4 statements, the Enforcement Directorate decided to arrest him. The court very clearly said that making approver in a case is not ED's job. It is court's job. Court decides whether a person can be made approver or not. So prima facie, the court accepted that these persons or these individuals were made approver after court's permission. ED had no role to play apart from giving the primary application. The second part is about the money trail. Now, the Aam Aadmi Party has been alleging from last few months and more than 1.5 years that there is no money trail, But during this hearing, the application of Arvind Kejriwal, ED made a submission that they have a money trail of more than 45 crores of rupees, which went from the kickbacks received from South Cartel to the Aam Aadmi Party, and that money was spent on, during the Goa elections. The court has accepted that there are enough material evidence based on which ED's action can be justified. Not only arrest, not only the questioning, but all the procedures, and it is going to be seen as a major win for the Enforcement Directorate as of now.
Absolutely. Also, Nalini, the court today has made it clear that, there can't be 2 sets of laws, one for the common citizen and one for a sitting chief minister. That is not something that is going to be allowed, given that in this case, the chief minister was in fact demanding immunity, isn't it? That was the crux of his plea.
Well, Sneha, personally, I think that Arvind Kejriwal's lawyers were hoping that the fact that he's still the sitting chief minister of the national capital is going to play at least a small role in the court deciding as to whether or not the arrest should be termed illegal or not. But the court has made it very clear that the fact that he's still the sitting chief minister is something that's going to play absolutely no role in the decision of the court, because the court is not ruled by politics. The court only and only has to go by the law. And in that regard, there are 2 very important things that the court has said today. One, that there can be no special privileges that can be given to Arvind Kejriwal, talking about the immunity that he was asking for, only because he is a sitting chief minister of Delhi. And the second thing that the court has said is that Arvind Kejriwal, the investigation cannot be carried out at the behest or according to the convenience of the person who is being probed himself. So in this case, if Arvind Kejriwal is claiming that he was not allowed to appear before the Enforcement Directorate via video conferencing, or the questioning was not happening according to his convenience, the High Court has clearly said that when a person is being probed, the investigation cannot be carried out at the behest of that particular person. Another very important thing that is coming from the High Court is the clear distinction that the High Court has made between the Bharatiya Janata Party and the central government versus ED, the investigating agency, where one is not equal to the other, is what the High Court has said. The High Court has said that the investigation is being conducted by the ED and he has not been arrested by the Bharatiya Janata Party, is something that we need to remember, which means that the High Court has given its stamp of approval on the fact that ED to certain extent is still an independent investigating agency, irrespective of the kind of allegations that come in every day on a daily basis from the opposition political party leaders. The High Court, before stating all of this, had said in a very clear breath that no arguments that have been made on politics are going to play a role on the decision of the High Court itself, because the court is not only going to go by the law but also the constitution, and as to whether or not there can be any immunity that can be granted to Arvind Kejriwal in the case. It's a big setback coming in for him, but we already knew that either way the case goes, it is eventually going to land up before the Supreme Court, because if it wasn't Arvind Kejriwal, then ED would have knocked the doors of the Supreme Court challenging the order. But if the order in the High Court had...
मंत्री की कुर्सी के पार्टी के हर दिल्ली हाई कोर्ट ने आज केजरीवाल और आम आदमी पार्टी के हर एक झूठ की धज्जियां उड़ा दी। हाई कोर्ट ने बहुत स्पष्ट कहा है कि केजरीवाल की गिरफ्तारी कानूनी रूप से एकदम सही है। केजरीवाल को शराब घोटाले में गिरफ्तार किया जाना कानूनी रूप से एकदम सही कदम है।